up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and it is time for me to give y'all my second 2026 NBA mock draft. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So with the first pick, the Washington Wizards select AJ DeBanso forward BYU, and I think that all signs are pointing towards the Wizards selecting him. I do believe there's a small chance they could select Darren Peterson, but I think, y'all, they will select AJ DeBanso due to his elite physical profile and elite skill set, as he's 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, so he has a great NBA-ready frame. He's a gifted and natural scorer who's a dynamic finisher around the rim. He has tremendous athleticism. He has a great post game. He's a great rebounder, and he has the potential to be an incredibly versatile defender due to his size and length and athleticism. And so I think that AJ DeBanso will become one of the best two-way players in the NBA. And when you have an opportunity, y'all, to add a guy that has this type of physical profile, shot-making ability, and defensive potential, you absolutely should not hesitate to select him, because this is what the modern NBA is all about, y'all. Having these 6'8", forward/wing players that does everything at an incredibly high level on the basketball floor. That is definitely what AJ DeBanso will provide. And I think he would be a great, not only pick, y'all, but great fit for the Wizards, because they have some really great players in place like Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr, and Bub Carrington. But they desperately need to find someone, y'all, that can just really elevate their franchise and take them to the next level. And I absolutely believe that's what AJ DeBanso would do. I think he would come in and immediately establish himself as the face of this franchise and lead this franchise to new heights, take them to new levels that they have not been before. And I think, again, this would just be a great pick and great fit for the Washington Wizards. With the second pick, the Utah Jazz select Darren Peterson, guard, Kansas. And I know a lot of Jazz fans are disappointed because they did not get the first overall pick, which meant they would have been able to select AJ DeBanso, who's obviously from Utah. He's a hometown kid. So I get why a lot of Jazz fans were hoping they would be able to select him. But, y'all, in my opinion, Darren Peterson is the best player in this draft. And I think this would be a great pick for the Jazz because he's an elite three-level scorer, one of the best three-level scorers I've ever seen, because he's able to get downhill, finish around the rim, and he also does a great job of getting to his spots in the mid-range game. And then finally, y'all, he's also a very great three-point shooter. So again, you talk about a guy that's just an elite and dynamic three-level scorer, and he's also a very great defender as well. So I think he's going to be one of the best two-way shooting guards in the NBA because of his elite offensive and defensive ability. And, y'all, he also is very athletic. And when you look at the Jazz, man, they already have a great point guard in place in Keontae George, who's a great scorer, great shot creator, and great shooter. But what do they need, y'all? They need more defense, and that's what Darren Peterson will provide, while also being an elite scorer himself. And I think if you have a starting five of Keontae George, Jaren Jackson Jr., Larry Markin, and Walker Kessler, I think the Utah Jazz would absolutely be a playoff team in the Western Conference next season. I think they'll be one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA, so I really love this pick for them. With the third pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Cameron Boozer, forward, Duke. And I know, y'all, for whatever reason, that some people are not as high on Cameron Boozer as I am because he's not the most athletic guy in the world, y'all. But I am not worried about that at all because he does everything, and I mean everything, at an incredibly high level. He is a great passer, has incredible court vision. He's also a really good three-point shooter. He's a great finisher around the rim. He has a great post game. He's a great rebounder. He's a super versatile defender, and he has a great feel for the game, has great intangibles, and has a high basketball IQ. And so I'm not concerned about his athleticism at all because I think because he does everything well on the basketball court, y'all, he is going to become, at the very least, an all-star player. But I think he become one of the better players in the NBA because it's just hard to find, y'all, guys that have this type of all-around elite skill set that he has. I think he would form a great front court duo next to Zach Edey. And I think the Grizzlies will have their front court in place for the next 10 to 15 years. And again, I know a lot of people are concerned about his lack of athleticism, but who cares, y'all, when he literally can do everything else at a very high level. Huge fan of Cameron Boozer. I don't buy this hype, y'all. Oh, there's a chance he could fall in the draft. Absolutely not. Cameron Boozer is a great player. Let's not overthink it. He's going to be a great player for years to come. And so because I think this to be a great pick for the Grizzlies. With the fourth pick, the Chicago Bulls select Caleb Wilson, forward, UNC. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I would not be shocked if Caleb Wilson ends up going higher than Cameron Ruzza. Although I believe Cameron Ruzza is a better player, I do think there's a chance that Caleb Wilson could actually get selected higher than him on draft night. But in my mock draft, I still have him right behind Cameron Ruzza. But let me say this, I'm a huge fan of Caleb Wilson, right? I mean, I love his athleticism. He's one of the most athletic guys I've seen in quite some time. Very similar to like a Sean Kemp in terms of his athleticism, his explosiveness. He's a very dynamic finisher around the rim. Does a great job of getting out in transition and really using his size and length to his advantage. And then, y'all, you talk about defense. Man, I think he is the most versatile defender in this draft class. He could legitimately guard 1 through 5 because of his size, length, athleticism, and agility. And he's also a great rebounder. So I really love Caleb Wilson. I do think he needs to improve as a shooter, but he does everything else at a very high level. When you look at the Bulls, they desperately need more help in their front court. They need to get some more size, length, and athleticism in their front court. And I think he would be a tremendous pick for them. With the 5th pick, the Los Angeles Clippers select Kingston Fleming's guard Houston. And I'm sure this is going to surprise a lot of people because it seems like the consensus out there, y'all, in all their mock drafts, they have the Clippers selected either Darius Acuff Jr. or Keaton Wagler. But in my opinion, Kingston Fleming is the best point guard in this draft because of what he brings from an offensive and defensive perspective. He has incredible athleticism. He is very fast. He's one of the fastest players I've seen in quite some time. He's able to get up and down the court and the speed of lightning. He also is a great finisher around the rim, right? He's able to really get downhill and finish around the rim with his left or right hand. He's also a tremendous dunker. And then, y'all, you talk about what he brings for you from a playmaking standpoint. He has very great court vision. He has a nice, tight, and controlled handle. And then defensively, this is where I think he separates himself from Keaton Wagler and Darius Acuff Jr. because Kingston Fleming is a very tenacious on-ball defender. He will really challenge you, close the space between you and him, and really just get into you, force a lot of turnovers, does a great job of paying the passing lanes, just applying a lot of pressure on opposing ball handlers, y'all. And I just think because of his all-around skill set, he is going to be an elite two-way guard in the NBA, very similar to like a John Wall or Drew Holiday. And I know that the Clippers already have Darius Garland in place, and obviously Kingston Fleming is the biggest guy. He's only about 6'3", with a 6'3" wingspan, but I'm not concerned with that at all, y'all, because again, just his all-around skill set, I believe he's going to be one of the better two-way point guards in the NBA. And again, I think because of what he brings you from a defensive perspective, he would be a better pick and fit for the Clippers, because I don't know if you necessarily want Darius Acuff and Darius Garland in the same backcourt, or Darius Garland and Keaton Wagler in the same backcourt. We have a guy like Kingston Fleming, who is a great defender, who's a very tenacious defender, great on-ball defender. I think he would be a great pick for the Clippers. With the 6th pick, the Brooklyn Nets select Darius Acuff Jr., guard, Arkansas. And I think this would be the best team for Darius Acuff, y'all, because the Brooklyn Nets are in desperate need of a lead ball handler. And man, Darius Acuff Jr. is one of the best scorers and shot creators I've seen in quite some time. I mean, he is able just to create shots from all 3 levels of the floor. He's also a very efficient player, shot 44% from 3 this past season at Arkansas. He's a great playmaker. He's an elite pick and roll operator, y'all. And then he's a very clutch player as well. And again, when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, what do they need? They need scoring. They need ball handling. They need shot creating ability. And that is exactly what he provides. Yes, he's probably never going to be a great defender, but I do believe he can be a decent defender because of his, solid frame. He's 6'3", 190 pounds with a 6'7" wingspan. So I think he can at least be a solid defender. But you look at what he provides, y'all, from an offensive perspective, from a shot creating perspective, from a scoring perspective, it's second to none. I definitely believe he's the best scorer in this draft class. So I really love this pick for the Nets. With the 7th pick, the Sacramento Kings select Keaton Wagler, guard, Illinois. And kind of similar to the Nets, the Kings are in desperate need of a lead ball handler. Obviously, last year they traded away De'Aaron Fox. And then this year, they brought in Russell Westbrook and Killian Hayes. But obviously, neither one of those guys are going to be their long-term option at that point guard spot. And when you look at Keaton Wagler, y'all, he has great positional size at 6'6". He has a great feel for the game. He plays at his own pace. He's a very crafty ball handler. He's a very good shot creator, really great shooter from 3, and then also he has a high feel for the game, has great intangibles, and has a high basketball IQ. He's not the most athletic guy, But I think because of his positional size, he could guard, multiple positions in the NBA. Because again, he's 6'6" with about a 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. And I just think he would be a great, building block for the Sacramento Kings. That's what they need, y'all. Not only do they just need elite ball handlers, but they just need young talent on this team. Because outside of Maxime Reynaud and Keegan Murray and Nick Clifford, they don't have a lot of young players on this team. So they just in desperate need of adding young talent. By adding great young talent, then I definitely think Keaton Wagler will provide that for them. With the 8th pick, the Atlanta Hawks select a Day Moore, center, Michigan, and this is probably going to surprise everyone. But I believe that Day Moore is a top 10 pick in this draft, y'all. Top 10 player in this draft, I should say. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes as high as 5 to the Clippers. But I have him going to the Hawks at 8, y'all, because he has elite size and length. I mean, he's 7'3" with a 7'7" wingspan. And he's an elite passer. He's probably the best passing big man I've seen since Mark and Pau Gasol. We know they were very good passing big man, but he might be even better than them, y'all. I mean, he just has incredible court vision for a player his size. But then not only does he have great size and length and playmaking ability, y'all, but he also is a great shot blocker, great rim protector, great rebounder, has soft hands to finish around the rim, and also has a pretty solid post game. And I definitely think he needs to get stronger, but I just love his all-around skill set, his two-way ability. And when you look at the Atlanta Hawks, they already have some great players in place like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, C.J. McCollum, Jalen Johnson, and Nneka Okongwu, also a Dyson Daniels. But I still think they can use some more size and length in their front court. I think you saw them really get exposed in their series, their first round series against New York Knicks, because they didn't have a lot of size and length to be able to go up against and combat Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. But you add a guy in Day Moore, y'all, who again not only just has incredible size and length, but is a great playmaker, great rim protector, great shot blocker, and has soft hands around to finish around the rim. We really love this pick for the Hawks. With the 9th pick, the Dallas Mavericks select Michael Brown Jr., guard Louisville. And I know that Kyrie Irving is going to be coming back next season, but, he's 34 years old. He's coming off a massive Achilles injury, so we don't know how, effective he's going to be. We don't know if he's going to like the old Kyrie Irving. So because of that, I think the Mavericks desperately need to find their next point guard of the future. And I'm a huge fan of Michael Brown Jr. I mean, he has great size, being 6'4" with about a 6'8" wingspan. He's a very crafty and dynamic 3-level scorer, has great athleticism, finishes well around the rim, is a deep 3-point shooter, and also is a pretty good rebounder and playmaker as well. So I would think this would be a great pick for them, just to finally find that next future franchise point guard, again, that can carry on after Kyrie Irving. And I think he'd be a great pick for the Mavericks. With the 10th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks select Braden Burry, guard Arizona. And I think the Bucks will be very fortunate if Braden Burry is still on the board, y'all, because I think he is probably the safest prospect in this entire draft class because of his just great all-around skill set. I mean, he is a very physical finisher around the rim who's able to get down here and really finish around the rim with his left or right hand. He's also a very good 3-point shooter. He's a very good defender, and he's a really good rebounder for his size. And so I think because of that, there's no way, y'all, in the world that he is going to be a bust. I definitely believe that Braden Burry is going to be at least a very good player, but I would not be surprised, y'all, if he becomes like a great player in the NBA, especially if he can improve his ball handling ability. But at the very least, you're going to be getting a guy, y'all, to get you 50 to 20 points per game while playing elite defense. If you can add that type of guy, you definitely should not hesitate to do so. So I think this would be a great pick for the Bucks. With the 11th pick, the Golden State Warriors select Yaxel Lindenberg for Michigan. And I had them selecting him in my initial mock draft, y'all, and I had them selecting him again because I just think this makes too much sense. Yes, I get that he's an older prospect. He's already 23 years old, but he is exactly the type of player that the Warriors need because they are still in win now mode. They are still trying to, compete for championships in the twilight of Steph Curry's career. So they need a player like Yaxel Lindenberg, who's ready to go right now. We look at his skill set. I mean, he's just an elite 3-and-D player who has great size, length, and athleticism. He's also a very versatile defender. Again, a great 3-point shooter and a great rebounder and a pretty solid passer out of the post. And he just a guy, y'all, that they want to be able to come into the Warriors and provide, instant shooting and defense for them. And again, that's what they need. They don't have time, for a guy to develop. No, they need a guy, y'all, that can come in right away and make an immediate impact for them. And that is what Yaxel Lindenberg will do. So I think this would be a great pick for them. With the 12th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Cameron Carr, guard Baylor. And again, this is probably going to be another surprising pick But I'm a huge fan of Cam Carr because I think it's rare to see guys have his size, looking athleticism. I mean, he's 6'5", y'all, but he has a 7'1" wingspan. That's absolutely incredible. He is a very dynamic finisher and has incredible athleticism to finish around the rim. He also is a great shot blocker, a great rebounder, and has deep three-point shooting range. And I think you saw at the combine that he can be, a guy that can get you 20 to 25 points per game while providing you with some elite defense. And when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, y'all, he kind of reminds me of a guy they drafted 4 years ago, and Jalen Williams, right? Because Jalen Williams was this guy, he was kind of undersized, he was only 6'5", but had nearly a 7'1" wingspan. And look at the type of player that Jalen Williams is becoming. I'm not saying that Cameron Carr is going to become Jalen Williams, but I'm just saying it's very rare, again, y'all, to see a guy have this type of size and athleticism. And I really love this pick for the Thunder. With the 13th pick, the Miami Heat select LeBaron Feiland Jr., guard, Alabama. And, we're not sure what the Heat are going to do. We're hearing a lot of rumors they could potentially trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But here's what they absolutely need to do, y'all. They need to get more dynamic in their backcourt. When you look at LeBaron Feiland Jr., this is the guy that averaged 22 points per game this past season in Alabama while shooting 50% from the floor and 40% from three. And he also is a very tenacious defender. So you love his shooting, you love his shot creating ability, and you love his defensive tenacity. And I think he'd be a great fit in that backcourt next to Tyler Hero and Kasper Jakusonis. So I really love this pick for the Heat. With the 14th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Nate Ament for Tennessee. And I know a lot of people have kind of soured on Nate Ament because of the quote-unquote disappointing season that he had at UT. Although, y'all, he averaged nearly 17 points and 7 rebounds per game. So that just shows you the type of expectations that people have for him. The fact that a lot of people are considering his freshman season at UT to be such a disappointment. But here's the thing. You just don't see guys, y'all, to have his size length. I mean, he's 6'10", 270 pounds with nearly 7'2" wingspan. And he has the potential at least to become a very good three-level scorer because his size and length will allow him to finish around the rim. Then he has a great poster game, and he can really elevate over the defense to get to his mid-range fadeaway. And then, he's a decent three-point shooter. He shot 33% from three this past season at UT, which isn't great, but he did shoot 79% from the free throw line. Then he has potential, y'all, to be a very great and versatile defender due to his size and athleticism. And so I think when you look at the Charlotte Hornets, this is exactly what they need. They need some more size, length, and athleticism in their front court. We know they can score. They have a lot of great scorers and shooters, but they desperately need some more defense. Again, some size and athleticism in their front court. And I think Nate Ament would definitely ride there. If you can get him, y'all, at the end of the lottery, again, a guy that going into this year we thought could have been a top 3, maybe top 5 pick, but because, he didn't have a great, but I didn't feel like he had a good, but he didn't have a great freshman season at UT. Now he's down at the board for the Hornets to scoop up. And I'm telling you, if Nate Ament reaches potential, he could become one of the best players from this draft class in 5 to 10 years. So I think this would be a great pick for the Hornets. With the 15th pick, the Chicago Bulls select Jaden Quainess, center, Kentucky. And earlier we had the Bulls selecting their power forward of the future and Caleb Wilson. And now we had them selecting their center of the future and Jaden Quainess. And I know he only played 4 games this past season in Kentucky. So Zay, how in the world could you have Jaden Quainess going this high? Y'all, I don't care. I'm a huge fan of Jaden Quainess. He has an elite physical profile with him being 6'10", with a nearly 7'5" wingspan. He has incredible athleticism. He's an elite versatile defender. He has great defensive instincts. He's an elite rim protector. He's a great rebounder. He's a really solid passer out of the post, and he is a dynamic finisher around the rim. And I think, y'all, if you have he and Caleb Wilson in the front court, man, the Bulls would have instantly upgraded their front court in a tremendous way. Again, right now the Bulls arguably have the worst front court in the NBA, but if you add Caleb Wilson, then you're able to get Jaden Quainess, man, just all that athleticism and defense and length they will have in their front court. I would really love this pick for the Chicago Bulls. With the 16th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Kareem Lopez for New Zealand. And earlier we had the Grizzlies selected Cameron Boozer, and now we had them selected Kareem Lopez. And I think because we had them selected Cameron Boozer, a guy who's considered to be a safe prospect, they can take a chance on Kareem Lopez, who is not a finished product yet, but if he reaches his potential, could become one of the best players in this draft class because he has great size at 6'9". I think he's a very versatile defender who can guard 1 through the 5. He has great athleticism. He's a pretty solid finisher around the rim, and I think he's a really good passer. He does need to improve his shooting, and so again, he's not a finished player yet, but I think the Grizzlies, because they're in rebuild mode, they will have time to wait on him. And again, y'all, if he reaches his potential, he can be one of the best players in this draft class. I think this would be a really good pick for the Grizzlies. With the 17th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Maurice Johnson Jr. forward, Michigan. And earlier we had the Thunder selecting Cam Carr, and now we have them selecting Maurice Johnson. And I'm a huge fan of Maurice Johnson. I actually can see him maybe even going to the top 10 or top 12 because he has tremendous size and length. He's 6'9" with a 7'3" wingspan. He reminds me so much of Bam Adebayo in terms of his overall size and length and athleticism. I think he's a very great finisher around the rim. He has tremendous defensive upside and instincts because of his size, length, and athleticism. Does a great job of really, covering a lot of ground, being able to be a great rim protector and overall just perimeter defender. And then I also think he's a pretty solid passer out of the post. He's not a great shooter. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that, is going to get you to 15 and 20 points per game. But that's not what the Thunder need. I think if it's one weakness that the Thunder have is, probably their lack of size, length, and athleticism in the front court. And Maurice Johnson Jr. would definitely improve that in a massive way. And so if the Thunder, y'all, come out of this draft with Cam Carr and Maurice Johnson Jr., oh my goodness, they're really going to have a dynasty on their hands for real, and the rest of the NBA would be in some big trouble. So I would really love this pick for them. With the 18th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Hans Standby, center, Washington. And earlier, we had the Hornets selecting Nate Abed, getting their small forward of the future. And now y'all had them getting their center of the future in Hans Standby. And here's the thing about him. I love what he brings from an offense perspective, man. He has a really advanced post game, has soft hands to finish around the rim, is a really great offensive and defensive rebounder. I think he's also a pretty solid passer out of the post. Now, I am worried about him defensively as he's not the most athletic guy, and he's also not that great of a rim protector, but offensively, he is a very skilled offensive big man. He reminds me a lot of Nikola Vucevic in terms of his overall offensive skill set. And I think this would be a really good pick for the Hornets. If they come out of this draft with Nate Abed and Hans Steinbach, man, the future will be looking pretty bright in Charlotte. With the 19th pick, the Toronto Raptors select Chris Annett Jr. forward, Houston. Now, I think he is one of the more intriguing players in this draft class because he has great size and length, being 6'10", with a 7'4" wingspan. He has great athleticism, and he has the potential to be a very versatile defender. The thing is, we did not see it, all the time during his freshman year at Houston, y'all. But I am still a huge fan of Chris Annett because of just his overall skill set. Again, his length, his size, his athleticism, and his defensive potential that he has. I think if he reaches his potential, he can become a great player. And when you look at the Toronto Raptors, I think definitely that they need some help at that center spot. They have Jakob Poeltl, but I don't think he's that great. And I definitely think, again, if Chris Annett Jr. reaches his potential with his size, with athleticism, and defensive potential, he can become one of the best defenders in the entire NBA. So I really love this pick for the Raptors. With the 20th pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Swain forward, Texas. I actually had them selecting him in my initial mock draft. I had to select him again because I just think he would be a great fit for them. We're not sure what the Spurs are going to do with Harrison Barnes and Keldon Johnson in the offseason. They might have to trade one of those guys. Might have to trade both of those guys. So if that happens, I think Dylan Swain could, come in and just be an immediate fit for them because he has great athleticism, right? Runs the floor and very well. He's already a great defender, very tenacious on-ball defender. He also is a great finisher around the rim, and he's a pretty solid passer. I know he's not the best shooter, but I just love his athleticism, his finishing, and his defensive ability and tenacity. So I really love this pick for the Spurs. With the 21st pick, the Detroit Pistons select Isaiah Evans, guard, Duke, y'all. And again, we're keeping the trend going. I had him selecting him in my initial mock draft, and I had to select him again because I think he'd just be a great fit for them. We know the Pistons are in desperate need of more shooting and floor spacing around Cade Cunningham. And I think Isaiah Evans is the best three-point shooter in this draft because he can shoot off the catch, he can shoot off the dribble. He also has pretty solid athleticism, y'all. And I think he really has improved as a defender. So I think he can be a very great 3-and-D player. And I just think this would be a great pick for the Pistons. With the 22nd pick, the Philadelphia 76ers select Allen Graves for Santa Clara. Again, another one of these probably surprising picks for a lot of people, but I'm a big fan of Allen Graves. I think he's going to be a very good 3-and-D player in the NBA for years to come. He's a great shooter, has pretty solid athleticism, but he has incredible defensive versatility and instincts, and he's one of those guys, y'all, that is going to make all the winning plays for your team, because he does not need the ball in his hands to be successful. He's not one of those guys that's going to shoot, the ball 20 to 25 times a game. He's just going to stand in the corner, make open threes, and play elite defense. And I think he would be a great fit for the Sixers next to Joel Embiid, because they really, have never had just a great 3-and-D power forward next to Joel Embiid. They tried it a few years ago with PJ Tucker, but at that point, he was at the end of his career. But you would get a guy like Alec Graves, y'all, who really grow and mature and learn a lot from Joel Embiid. So I really love this pick for them. With the 23rd pick, the Atlanta Hawks select Christian Anderson, guard, Texas Tech. And earlier we had the Hawks getting their center of the future in a day more, but now we had him getting their point guard of the future in Christian Anderson. I thought he had a great combine, because although he only measured in at 6'1", he also had measured in at having a 6'6" wingspan, so he has pretty good size, although he is an undersized point guard. You just have to love his overall court vision and playmaking. Average nearly 8 assists per game, and he's a very dynamic shot creator, especially from three, man. I mean, he does a great job of just elevating and getting to his spots in the mid-range and three-point area. And I think he would be a great dynamic ball handler to add to that Hawks team. That's what they need, right? I mean, they have, again, some great pieces in Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, but they still need some more ball handling, need some more scoring, need some more playmaking at that guard spot. And that's exactly what Christian Anderson will provide. With the 24th pick, the New York Knicks select Koa Pete, forward, Arizona. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, this might be too high for Koa Pete, because I love his athleticism. I love his size and length, being 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan. But, man, he is just not a good three-point shooter at all, y'all. And that definitely concerns me, because the modern NBA is, it's all about shooting. You at least have to be a decent shooter. If you cannot shoot at all in the NBA, it's going to be very hard for you to have a successful career in the NBA. And when you look at Koa Pete, especially when him being kind of an undersized forward, the fact that he's just not a good shooter definitely concerns me. But I think because of his athleticism, his mid-range shooter, and his defensive versatility, he's still going to be a first-round pick. Is this too high for him, y'all? Should he honestly go, at 29 or 30? I'm not sure, but again, I'm still a fan of Koa Pete, but I'm definitely concerned in terms of his three-point shooting ability, because, man, the NBA today, you have to at least be a decent three-point shooter, especially if you're going to be an undersized forward. You need to be able to shoot a three ball at a pretty decent level. But when you look at the New York Knicks, shout out to the New York Knicks going to the NBA Finals, but when you look at the Knicks, I still think they can use some more size and length in their front court, so I had to select him, but don't be surprised, y'all, if he goes later in this, but I still like him as a player. With the 25th pick, the Los Angeles Lakers select Henry Weissart, center, UNC. And it's no secret that the Lakers are in desperate need of a center, because DeAndre Ayton just did not play well this season. I know Henry Weissart might not be the perfect fit for them, because technically, you will love for the Lakers to get a defensive-minded center, but beggars cannot be choosers. And here's the thing about Henry Weissart. He's a very skilled offensive big man, kind of similar to Hans Standbach in terms of his overall offensive skill set. He's a very good shooter, has a very good post game, very good and soft hands defense around the rim, and he's also a pretty decent passer out of the post. I do worry about his rebounding, athleticism, and defensive ability. But, I mean, getting a guy, y'all, that has this type of offensive skill set this late in the first round, I think would be a great pick for the Lakers. With the 26th pick, the Denver Nuggets select Bennett Sturts, guard, Iowa. And, y'all, as I stated earlier, this is another one of these picks that I had in my initial mock draft. And I just think Bennett Sturts would be a great fit for the Nuggets, because they desperately need some more ball handling and scoring off their bench. And he's a guy that can come in and play immediately, which is also what they need, right? Because they're still in win-now mode with Nikola Jokic. So they need guys that don't have to, try to grow their game, don't have to try to mature, just a guy that can come in and make an immediate impact. And that's what Bennett Sturts can do because of his three-level scoring, his shot creating ability, and his playmaking ability. I think he would be a great fit off the bench next to guys like Bruce Brown and Christian Brown as well. So I love this pick for the Nuggets. With the 27th pick, and this is a new pick, with the 27th pick, the Boston Celtics select Ibuka Okoro, guard, Stanford. And I did not have him in my initial mock draft, y'all, but now he has made it to my second mock draft. And man, the more I watch this kid, I'm really becoming a big time fan of his, because we know he is just an absolute dynamic and elite shot creating scores. He averaged 22 points per game this past season at Stanford. He has, pretty solid athleticism for a guy his size. Speaking of that, y'all, he came in at 6'2" with a 6'7" wingspan at the combine. So I think he can be a solid defender as well. But you just love what he can provide from a scoring and shooting and shot creating perspective. And when you look at the Celtics, I definitely think they need to get more dynamic in that backcourt. Derek White, there's a chance they trade him, and even if they don't, they still need to add, another shooter, another shot creator to their team. Because really, outside of Peyton Pritchard, they don't have another guard. They can just go and get their own shot creator offense for themselves. But it's exactly what Abuka Okore can do. So I think this would be a great pick for the Celtics. With the 28th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Malik Thomas, guard, Arkansas. I'm a big fan of Malik Thomas. I really wanted him to go higher than this in my mock. I just could not find a spot for him. But y'all, I'm a huge fan of his because I think he is a great 3-level scorer. He has great athleticism. He can finish around the rim. He can get to his mid-range pull-up. And he's a very great three-point shooter. And I think he also has the ability to be a pretty solid defender because of his size and length, being 6'3" with nearly a 6'7" wingspan. And he, recently announced that he will be standing in the NBA draft, which I think is a great decision for him because I absolutely think he is going to be a first-round pick. I think he's one of the more underrated players in this draft, but I'm a huge fan of Malik Thomas. I think he'd be a great pick for the Timberwolves because they definitely need some more help in that backcourt. Yes, they have Ayo Dosunmu, but we know Dante DiVincenzo is going to be out next season due to his Achilles injury, and they can still add some more reinforcements to this backcourt alongside Ayo Dosunmu and Anthony Davis. I think Malik Thomas would be a tremendous pick for them. With the 29th pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Amari Allen, forward, Alabama. And man, oh my goodness, the Cleveland Cavaliers, that was just an absolute pathetic and disappointing performance in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they showed y'all that although really championship contenders, and I think that starts defensively. The New York Knicks absolutely torched them defensively, and they desperately, y'all, need to add some more athleticism and defense to their team. And Amari Allen is a great defender. He also is a pretty athletic player as well, and he's a really good passer too, and a great finisher around the rim. And that is exactly what the Cavs need. And he does not need the ball in his hands to be successful. We know they already have two ball-dominant guys in Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. So what they need, y'all, guys that can play without the ball, that are great cutters, that move well without the ball. That is who Amari Allen is. And again, man, his defense, though, is what's going to, get him in the NBA, what's going to keep him on the floor. Just the defense and length and athleticism that he provide would be tremendous. And then with the 30th and final pick, the Dallas Mavericks select Tone Yesufu, guard, Baylor. And there's a chance that he could fall out the first round, but I still think he's going to be a first-round pick because of his athleticism, his length, and his defense. He's one of the better defenders in this draft, can guard the interior and the perimeter, has tremendous athleticism, is a great finisher around the rim, is a dynamic athlete, and is a great rebounder. Now, his shooting is horrible. He definitely needs to improve as a shooter, but he has a pretty good skill set right now that you can just, if you can improve his shooting, man, he can become a great player. And, early we had the Mavericks selecting their point guard of the future, Michael Burrow Jr. Now we had them getting maybe their shooting guard or small forward of the future at Tande Yesufu. So I think this would be a great pick for them. And there you have it, man. This was my second 2026 NBA mock draft. Please leave me your thoughts and give me your picks in the comment box below. Remember, y'all, last the best of what? Make sure you get your daily dose. So I'm in it, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.